Hello world, first and foremost, even though this is not even remotely related to what I want to talk about in this video. The last video I said this. I was talking to people at work today about this, and then you guys were all like, what, you have a job? What is this? YouTube is supposed to be your job. When did you get a job? I guess I haven't really been doing a very good job of keeping you up to date as to what is going on in my life. Yeah, I'm living in New York City right now, Brooklyn specifically, and I'm working for Fuse. I'm hosting, interviewing bands and things. And there will likely be much more information on that front coming at you in the coming weeks and months, but for now I'll just put a link to a few of the things I've done for Fuse and the doobly-doo, check those out. But enough about me, to the meat of the video. 2012, that's what year it is. Holy crap, it's 2012 already. How'd that happen? As a video blogger, this is my obligatory vlog about how 2012 may or may not be our last year on Earth. Let's start with how it may not be. All of this Mayan calendar, astrological, Nibiru, hidden planet, conspiracy theory bullshit, it's all bullshit. I mean, it's ridiculously stupid to think that the Mayans had any special insight as to what was going to be happening this far into the future, and even if they did have some sort of special insight, they never said that the end of their calendar meant that it was going to be the end of the world. I mean, typically what would happen is, once the Mayan calendar ended, they would just, it means it's a new age, they would create a new calendar to follow it up. But just because the Mayans had absolutely no special insight as to when the end of the world would be does not mean necessarily that 2012 is not going to be the last year on Earth. It's just that if it is the last year on Earth, it's a complete coincidence that it's the same year that the long count calendar ends. If the world does end, this is how I think it might happen. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen, but if it does happen, this is how it could. So for the last like more than 100 years, hundreds of years, the exponential growth curve of technology has been doing like this, and then over the last like 10 years, we've started to get to the point in the curve where it's like ticking up, doing this, and we've seen the most incredible expansion of applications of computing technology to our everyday lives that anyone has ever seen. But the thing about rapid technological change is, and I'm lifting this concept directly from a guy named Shirky. He's one of my favorite thinkers about internet and the future and all that jazz. I'll link to one of his talks below. The thing about technological change is that society does not change as a result of technological change as soon as that change happens. Society changes as soon as we begin taking technological change for granted. And I want to focus specifically on social networking right here. You know, our society did not change as a result of social networking as soon as, you know, say Facebook was invented. I would argue that society really began changing and using social networking to its full potential. I mean, we're still figuring out how to use it to its full potential, but 2011 was the year that we began taking it for granted. You know, 2011 is the year that even our parents don't have to think about, you know, how to update their status or leave embarrassing comments on your statuses. But beyond embarrassing status updates, 2011 was the year that we saw Facebook and Twitter and social media generally being used to organize and plan protests to buck the old power structure in favor for something that's more democratic, more organic. You know, the Occupy movement, Arab Spring, and it is really, really, really difficult to overstate this point. Every time we have a revolution in how we transfer information with each other, like the printing press, for example, we always inevitably see cultural revolution, political revolution, all-out global revolution that follows. And we've known that. The rhetoric has reflected that about the internet since the beginning of the internet, but 2011 was the first year where we really began to see that beginning to play out. And the internet is the most important revolution in how we transfer information amongst each other in all of human history. And so I believe that that means that we are in the midst, we are at the beginning of the most important revolution in how we exist as a planet in all of human history. Power is never just simply given. Power is always taken. And to take, I mean, that is by definition a forceful action. The way that 2012 could be the end of the world. And again, I don't think that this is going to happen. I sure hope this is not going to happen, but it might happen. It could happen. The way that 2012 could be the end of the world is if a democratic revolution on such a massive scale begins taking place, and the powers that be would much rather press the blow up the world button or plunge the world into World War III button as opposed to the, you know, give up power button. I mean, that could do it. But I am optimistic because, you know, insofar as the world is becoming more and more democratic, insofar as the people are more and more in control of what happens politically, geopolitically, and the more people are interacting, networking with people from all over the world, the more people are realizing that people are just people. And the more that we like other people, the more we like everyone everywhere, and the less inclined we are to bomb the shit out of each other. I mean, revolutions are never easy and straightforward. They're always messy. People will protest, people will riot, people will die. But assuming that we can get through this incredibly, inevitably tumultuous period in human history, I honestly believe, and I don't use this word lightly, I don't say sappy things often, but I really genuinely do believe that the end result can be incredibly beautiful. A harmonious global society is possible. Okay, chess. Bishop, c1 to e3. Okay, black. Your move.
If you like what you just saw, if Dan put you in a state of awe, subscribe to him and click the orange button. It really, 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 really means something. If you do that, that'd be really cool.